Do you suffer from the debilitating symptoms of chronic pain, swelling, and loss of joint motion due to arthritis? Are you taking drugs like Celebrex and Vioxx or other super aspirin prescriptions? If you are, you're increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 50%. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, host of Dr. Tom Roselle Live Sundays at 12 noon. Why live with pain or the dangerous side effects of drugs when the doctors at the Roselle Center for Healing, practicing 21st century integrative medicine, can help you experience relief like never before? Simple, safe, chiropractic, acupuncture, and nutritional care can provide significant relief from arthritic pain in less than 6 weeks. More than 70% of our patients experience a return to life far beyond their expectations. Give yourself the best gift possible, freedom from arthritic pain, naturally. Call today to schedule an appointment. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live, right now, on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. I'm live in studio, back in place. Yes, we were at the office last week, but this week we're in the studio. So guess what that means? We can take your phone calls. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. I've got a couple things we're going to discuss with you. However, it's about you today, even though that it's kind of gloomy outside. This has been quite a spring, huh? A lot of garbage. Well, you know what? Brings out all the problems that you've had. It makes you feel kind of miserable, or your head stuffed up, or your belly doesn't work quite as nicely as you got pain all over the place. Maybe we can answer those questions, and we can show you something different to do, because you've tried everything else. You've tried, you've applied, you've done whatever you thought you possibly could. You've done the same old repetitively. Well, here's your opportunity. Let's see if we can change things for you. 888-630-9625. In a day-to-day practice in our office, we see patients come in with a varied symptom presentation. And those of you who know us and those of you who are patients of ours understand that what we look for is the answer to the question, why is that? How come things happen? And we look at it from a triad of health. We look at it from structural, chemical, emotional stresses, if you will. The structural portion has to do with all those things that you can touch in your body, your muscle tissue, your nervous system, the bones of your body, all the hard components. And when we examine that, we're looking for evidence of injury. An injury can be significant or can be something that is subtle and protracted over a long period of time. The biochemical side of the triangle has to do with all those things that are exogenous to our body, outside in, all those things that you know you shouldn't be putting in your body, and they wreak all kinds of havoc. The additives, the preservatives, the electromagnetic fields that are around us. We live in a hot box, as I've said so many times in Washington, D.C. In addition to that, the things that you need that you don't get enough of. And then lastly, the emotional side of the triangle. The emotional side of the triangle has a very specific situation and how it affects everything. What do I mean by that? The body doesn't know the difference between an injury or biochemical insult or something that you emotionalize, think about, kind of crunch on, internalize. The effect neurochemically to your body is absolutely the same. So when we have the structural piece acting on the other two sides, we have the biochemical piece affecting structural and emotional, and we have the emotional, in fact, affecting the structural components of your body and the biochemistry. We start looking at the why behind things, and as they cascade down and they affect all of the different systems within your body, and then subsequently, what do? They end up causing symptom presentations that we run off and put medications on or try to dampen so we can live and tolerate so we can go on and do our day-to-day thing. The problem is that medications don't fix anything. They kind of hide them, and the process of degenerative pathology occurs where you have the diseases, the cancers, and all the things that we can see, touch, and feel. I want to talk a little bit about the chemical side of the triangle for a while, and then as we go on, we'll take your questions, absolutely. And, you've heard me talk about things that are modified, things that are manipulated. And what we're talking about today, we're talking about food. What is kind of food? Well, how about genetically modified foods? Genetically modified foods or biotechnologically adapted foods They're produced from modified organisms. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's a great book that I'm going to introduce you to that I want you to go out and get, because once you read this book, you're going to be minimally upset and majorly over the top, and you're probably going to be stimulated to take some action because you're being lied to on a day-to-day basis. It's an international bestseller. It's called Seeds of Deception. It was written by Jeffrey M. Smith, and it talks about the exposing industry and government's hand in hiding from you, if you will, the safety, actually lack of genetically engineered foods that we all eat and unfortunately don't know anything about because there's not a lot of law that says that they have to tell you what's in it. Well, how did all this start? Well, it started some years ago, and it came about by legislation, and it came about by just kind of global, well, we have to feed everybody type of thing. But genetically modified organisms are the products of messing with the genes. They're splicing genes. They're reactivating these, what they used to call junk genes, but they're actually just dormant genes. And they get into the DNA, the actual genetic matrix. And it's technologically deceptive, but it's fraught with the unknown, the possibilities that exist of disastrous consequences of what's going to happen not only to our health and the health of our genetic species throughout the world, but also the environment itself. So even if we're untouched, we can't live here. And those who had the most to gain are the multinational biotechnological companies, these guys like Monsanto. And, I've encouraged many of you to get out there and look at what Monsanto is proposing. I mean, the government's in cahoots because there was a bill that was passed this last spring that basically says that Monsanto cannot be sued for any potential perceived or otherwise intended damage by its genetically modified organisms. Now, that's like unbelievable, right? So we go through and we want to look at the background of this. And it goes back a lot of years. It goes back to the Nixon administration, not that quite far, but there was something I was going to tell you about there. But let's take it up a little further and let's talk about the Bushes. Well, President George Bush, the Jr., as we say, on May 23rd, 2003, proposed an initiative to end hunger in Africa. And how did he do that? Well, he proposed in conjunction with Monsanto and a couple other corporations that they would begin using genetically modified foods. And he also blamed Europe's unfounded, unscientific fears, and that's a quote, by the way, of these foods for hindering efforts to end hunger. So what he was bought into and what he was told is that if we use these genetically modified foods, then we can produce foods at high levels with the same amount of nutrition value and get it out there and without damage. Well, the bottom line is that's not what happened. And the rhetoric that he was exposing at that time was not new. It had been going on for quite some time. It was passed down. And today we have tremendous numbers of modified foods. Well, it was clear that this was developed and crafted by major biotechnological corporations beginning back in 1999, where there was a representative from a very well-known consulting firm, Arthur Andersen, and explained how this company had helped Monsanto create that plan. Is that interesting? You do a little detail, you ask the question what happened, and you start seeing the fingers in the inkwell, and they leave their prints all over the place. Well, they first asked Monsanto what their ideal future looked like in 15 to 20 years, and this is kind of cool. Monsanto's executive described a world with 100% of commercial seeds genetically modified and patented by, guess what, them. And Andersen Consulting then worked backwards from that goal, and they developed a strategy and tactics to achieve them. So Monsanto had hired them so they could control, what, everything that you put into your mouth that grew from the ground. Well, here's the thing. And I'll just give you a little bit of a tidbit, and then we're going to talk about this as the show goes on, and we're also going to talk about the causes of food intolerance. As you can begin to imagine right now, that's probably one of them. So what happens? Visualize a seed that's been genetically modified, this little corn seed or this little soy seed or this seed that they're going to plant and grow into this huge, strong, vibrant vegetable. And now when this seed gets to a certain level, guess what it does? It produces its own insecticide. Actually, it produces Roundup. That was the first stuff that they did. So now Roundup becomes part of the plant. And when you eat this plant, guess what you're getting? You're getting Roundup in your body. You're getting these seeds that have been modified, and nobody knew, nobody thought what would be the problem. Well, there's the wisdom of the cows, and it's something that I kind of laughed about, but the sincerity of this was over the top. This goes back to 1998, and Howard Vlugger harvested both natural corn and a genetically modified version in his farm in Maurice, Iowa. And he was curious. He did his own experiment. What he did, he was wondering how his cows would react to the pesticide-producing corn, and he filled one side of his 16-foot trough where all the cows would eat, and he put modified corn in one, and he put natural, regular corn grown in the other. Well, here's what happened, and I'm going to shorten it up a little bit and just tell you, the end product. The cows only ate from the side of the trough that was filled with natural, unadulterated, unmodified corn, and they virtually ignored the other side. When they ran out of the food, of the natural food, they went over and they kind of picked on, if you will, the other one and then walked away from it. They wouldn't even touch it. So what does that tell you? I mean, here's an animal that supposedly doesn't have the capacity to think and process the way we do, but this animal walked away from something that was not a natural substance. They knew innately. They knew that there would be a problem. So a few years later, Vlugger joined a room full of farmers in Iowa to hear presidential candidate Al Gore. And troubled by Gore's unquestioning acceptance, of who, guess what, Monsanto and genetically modified foods, This farmer, this Vlugger, asked Gore to support a recently introduced bill in Congress requiring that genetically modified foods be labeled. Well, Gore replied that the scientists that that they were consulting with said that there's no difference whatsoever between genetically modified foods, GM foods, and non-GM foods. So this farmer said, well, I don't agree with you. And he described what happened with his cows. He said, my cows are smarter than those scientists were in the room. And the whole room erupted in applause and so forth because these guys knew that animals understood the process. They got it. They really got that situation. And Gore asked if any other farmers noticed a difference in the way their animals responded to the GM foods. And about 12 to 15 hands went up in the room. And it was at that point that it was a public forum, a public venue that couldn't be ignored. And then going back to 1999, Acres, USA article, and that's what the title was, cattle even broke through the fence and walked through a field of Roundup-ready corn to get to non-modified foods. I mean, they were hungry, and they weren't about to eat the corn that was genetically modified. But this is the stuff that you're getting. More and more food now is being altered and being modified across the country. 60% of all the avocados that come in from California that are conventional are genetically modified. The farms that raise fish, the stuff that they're putting in there to feed them, the soy products, the corn products that they're feeding fish. Now, you know as well as I do, fish don't eat corn and soy. That's not their natural substance. But these are genetically modified substances that they're feeding, force-feeding, if you will, these fish. And then you get them. Their systems, their genetic maps are modified. So subsequently, your system, your genetic map is also going to be modified. We can go on and list these things. The problem is I want to get your attention. As we go through the program today, I'm going to give you other little pieces that you need to look up and really research for yourself. In the meantime, give me a call, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We have to take a break to listen to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Dr. Tom Roselle and the Roselle Center for Healing present Ageless Health 2013, 3 Keys to Wellness, Saturday, October 19th at the Fairview Park Marriott in Falls Church, Virginia. At this all-day seminar, learn how you can feel better or feel great when the doctors from the Roselle Center for Healing each discuss a topic that directly affects your health, like your food, physical fitness, preventing injury and disease, your healing process, and more. Register today at agelesshealth2013.com. That's agelesshealth2013.com.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle, author of Ageless Health. Health is a do-it-yourself program. My book, now also available in audio version, is a step-by-step program of how to take control of your health and wellness without drugs or needless surgery. You have the capacity to change your health and level of well-being. Take control of your health today and order Health is a do-it-yourself program.
For more information and to order, please visit agelesshealthbook.com. That's agelesshealthbook.com.
Did you know that routine mammograms can increase radiation exposure to breast tissue 1,000 times over a chest X-ray? Now consider a simple, non-invasive, and totally safe medical procedure approved by the FDA since 1982 that can detect breast cancer 5 to 8 years before it can be visualized on a mammogram. Infrared thermographic imaging can accurately detect the initial signs of breast cancer as increased blood supply and metabolic rate, which is recorded as heat. Why expose yourself to radiation when accurate and safe medical detection is available? Call the Thermography Center of Fairfax to schedule a breast exam today at 703-948-7248. That's 703-943-7248. For more information, visit www.thermographyscan.net. That's thermographyscan.net for the Thermography Center of Fairfax.
The Roselle Center for Healing is a proud supporter of breast cancer awareness and reminds you to conduct a monthly breast self-examination and a thermographic breast scan as part of your annual wellness checkup.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. Yep, I'm in studio. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. You've applied with problems that you've had using things that just aren't working. Well, here's your opportunity. Let's fix it for you. Give me a jingle and let's see what we can do. If you'd like to talk to me off the air at any time, all you need to do is the best way to find me is go to our website. Go to drtomroselle.com, drtomroselle.com, and I will return your question, and I will do it very promptly. If you'd like to talk to one of my doctors, 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117. They will get back to you today. 888-630-9625. Call me. I will happily answer any questions that you might have. Want to remind you, coming up, October the 19th, Ageless Health 2013. It's our annual event. It's at the Fairview Park Marriott Hotel in Falls Church, right off the National Capital Beltway, just on Route 50, and you're right there. It's an amazing day. Those of you who have been there before, it's a day that you know, to quote one of our attendees over the years, said it's like, getting a drink from a fire hose. There's just so much information. We're going to give you all kinds of things. You get the notes of that day. You get registered for $1,000 worth of health care, drawing that takes place. We have a demonstration for core training exercise in the morning. We have a demonstration for Chinese Tai Chi at noon while you're having your lunch. And all of my doctors will be there. And this year, we've put into different categories that you actually will get a consultation with your ticket. There's 3 different levels of participation. If you'd like to find out, go to either agelesshealth2013.com. That's A-G-E-L-E, Ageless, L-E-S-S, right? Health, H-E-A-L-T-H, 2013.com. And check it out and register today. Because if you register by this next couple, 2-3 weeks, you actually will get a discount. And if you register online, you'll get another discount. So don't tarry. Do it. Get it done. Register. Be with us. I promise you a day that you will not forget for a long, long time. And a day that lets you go home and help your family, help yourself, do the things that you need to do to make your health and your wellness potential up over the top. We're talking about genetically modified foods. I talked to you about a book called Seeds of Deception, and it's written by a guy by the name of Jeffrey M. Smith. Do not put it off. Buy this book because you are being deceived. And we need to talk about, well, if that's really all that bad, how do we know? Because there are no labeling standards that are mandatory. So how do you know that you're getting good stuff? Well, buy foods that are labeled 100% organic. The U.S. and Canadian governments don't allow manufacturers to label something 100% organic if that food has been genetically modified or it's been fed genetically modified feed whatsoever, the things that we were talking about, the corn, the soy, and so forth. And you may find that product that is organic is more expensive, but guess what? It may save your life in the long term. So you have to make sure that even when you're buying seeds for your own garden and you're planting your tomatoes and things that you like to grow out back, that you get the right stuff. It has to be labeled 100% organic. And the certifications are very, very specific. They're either there or they're not. Also, there's some numbers. There's recognized numbering systems that go along with the genetic modification and regular good stuff. So if it has an 800 series, it'll be 81 or 80000, then don't touch that. Don't buy it. If it starts with a 9 and it's got 90000, it's okay. You can use that. It's if it's a 4-digit number, the food is conventionally produced. If it's a 5-digit number beginning with an 8, it is genetically modified. And don't trust that the GE foods will have an identity that you can actually understand. You have to understand the digits behind this type of thing. So upgrade your information, your knowledge. It's all online. You can go there. You go to genetically modified foods. Start with going to Wikipedia, understand what's really taking place, understand how they're doing this. But more importantly, understand that it's not helpful to you. It's not going to work. This is something that we all have to be aware of, because our future, our children's future, this planet's future is about understanding that your environment, your body, can be stimulated, shifted by external factors, and we call that epigenetics. Well, this is a way that we're doing it, but we're doing it on purpose, not just by stress patterns, not by going out but we're doing it on purpose. And these companies know what they're doing. They're just suppressing it. What I don't understand is that their own families are going to be affected by this long term. But is the big dollar so important to their back pocket and their bottom line that they're willing to overlook this and put all of us at risk? We all need to ask that question. We're here at 888-630-9625. When we come back after the news, I'll begin taking your phone calls. So don't go away. There's other things I want to give to you relative to information basis. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Dr. Tom Roselle here, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you. Just give me a call. We'll hit your subject and figure out a way to fix it for you. Meantime, want to get to our phones. There's several of you waiting, but, call me. Let's see what we can do. Ed, thank you for holding. How can I help you, sir?
Dr. Roselle, thank you very much. I really enjoy the show. It's about my brother-in-law. He's in rural Tennessee. He's 60 years old. General overall health is great, but since March the 11th, he's had blisters that have showed up inside his mouth. They look like about the size of a BB, and they're yellow.
How old of a man is he?
60.
Okay. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me. And he's general overall great health, but he's been to internist, medical doctors, been to oral surgeons, and everybody says it's not a yeast infection. They've given him antibiotics, and he keeps getting worse. Now he's losing weight. His mouth burns constantly. And I'll give them your number. They will be contacting you Monday. They'll probably be coming up here to see you. But is there anything, do you have any idea what they could go or tell anybody what they need to be checking?
The problem is, Ed, is that any kind of blister inside the mouth or gums, it can come from so many different things. It can go from a herpes type of virus, it can be a thrush, it can be an ulcer, it can be a canker sore, it can be a cold sore, and they're all different. From something as minimal as somebody brushing their teeth too hard and leaving these little areas of irritation, then those become infected. The fact that he's been given antibiotics tells me that it's probably not a bacterial infection, so that means that it's probably in the neighborhood of a herpetic infection. Thrush or mold or fungal types of conditions sometimes present themselves quite different than what you would think. It's not necessarily the fulminating white, thick substances that that we see with a full-blown thrush. But there's ways of testing that. Obviously, he's going to lose weight because he can't eat. If they're sore, and he's not going to want to put anything in his mouth. He can start sipping on some protein shakes, which will help. But the problems that we're talking about can come from just H. pylori. It can come from a bacteria within the intestinal tract, but the fact that they gave him an antibiotic says that it's probably not the case. It can come from parasites, and if there's an intestinal parasite, they often will show up as these little pin-like type of irritations within the mouth and throughout the entire intestinal system. His esophagus, his food tube from his mouth down to his belly probably is also very irritated. So just the swallowing things are going to be difficult. Ulcerations can be exposures to to environmental things. If there's anything that has changed in his area in his life, his breathing in. But then if that was the case, then his family too would probably notice some type of problems with their health. So when you evaluate that, you have to evaluate it from is it viral? If it's fungal, where is it coming from? Is it parasitic? Is he doing something outside the family unit, the house? Are there animals? If he has dogs and or even cats, and he's been exposed to them, if they've licked him across the nose or the mouth, they can inoculate him with all kinds of things. That's where we're talking about parasitic type of involvement.
Right.
So it's kind of tough to tell. With herpetic viruses or any kind of virus, there are many types of DNA mutant strains. They're kind of a challenge to get rid of. Then you would use antivirals, things that are very simple, sometimes like lysine. Lysine is a very, very potent amino acid that deals very nicely with different type of viral patterns. I'd have to know a lot more. It's one of those things that you have to see. So tell them beforehand. They can just write me a note, drtomroselle.com, and I will get back to them, and I'll ask them a few questions. Where in Tennessee are they?
Well, they're down in rural Tennessee. It's called Athens. It's just a little bit south of Knoxville and a little bit north of Chattanooga.
Okay, there's a couple really good doctors down there that I've known for several decades. And instead of having them come all the way up here, they may want to see them locally. So tell them to get a hold of me online, and I will send them those referrals.
Okay, that sounds good. I've given them your number, and I'm sure they will contact you tomorrow. Thank you, Dr. Roselle.
Thank you for calling, Ed. I appreciate it. That's one of those really weird, strange things, because it can be a straight-up treatment, but you have to know what it is, and it can be any of those things. And unfortunately, in traditional medicine, they're just going to kind of, well, let's take this antibiotic and see what happens. Let's do this and see what happens. Doesn't work that way. Jane, how can I help you? Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
I have a problem. I cannot get my hands on a mercury thermometer.
Yeah, you can't buy them anymore.
Yeah, I understand that. However, since I run reverse fevers, that is the only thing I could use it to track with.
Well, you can get regular thermometers, Jane, will do the same thing. There's some really good ones out there.
No, digital, I can't do digital. They choke on it. They won't go reverse, especially since my normal temperature has never been what everybody else is doing.
Okay, well, give me an idea of what you're talking about, and I may be able to tell you and kind of fill me in on what you're trying to accomplish, and I might be able to tell you another way to do it.
I got the Spanish flu for one thing.
Okay.
And I knew my temperature was dropping precipitously.
Well, the reason that you're
I couldn't track it with the digital because it didn't register.
So it went that low?
In reverse.
Well, there are some out there, Jane, that have lower gradients on it that you can actually pick up low temperatures. And you got to go to sometimes the old Rexall drugstores, not Rite Aid and so forth. They've got some thermometers that actually may do what you're going to. If you're way too low, you're in major trouble. And,
yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
So the point of it is that's what's happening is your immune system is not kicking in. You're not able to fight what's going on. So if you get a bacteria, if you get a virus, if you get any kind of microorganism.
That's the problem. I don't get anything. I'm perfectly healthy.
Well, the fact
except for bad eyes and bad teeth.
Well, the fact that your temperature is dropping, and just like somebody whose temperature is going up, says that there's an immune suppression someplace, and it can be a microorganism. It can be an intestinal tract imbalance. It can be. You can't just assume. When you have a very low temperature, now, normal temperature, when we say 98.6, that's an average. Some people are just a little bit higher. Some people run a little bit lower on a regular basis. Now, if you're running precipitously way lower than that, and there's another way to find out if it's a thyroid function. You do what we call an axillary temperature in the morning, and you take a thermometer and you put it underneath your arm before you even move, before you get under bed, and you measure that, and you keep it there for 10 minutes, and then you record that for a period of a couple of weeks. If that temperature is less than a degree lower than what it should be in your mouth, then you've got a problem. So there's several different ways, but Jane, they make thermometers that will do that for you. Just got to go to a place like Rexall, or go to Medical Supply and see what kind of companies come up, and they have them, because we have them in our office, so we can register a lower temperature. But like I said, if your temperature is way too low, you and I won't be talking. So it's just a matter of trying to find out what it is. So
my primary care doctor is an endocrinologist.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. That just means that he's got a degree that says he's an endocrinologist, but there's a lot of other things out there that he doesn't know about. Otherwise, he'd be guiding you a little different. Jane, thank you for your call. Get a hold of me, drtomrosell.com, and I'll be more than happy to give you some specifics relative to products and where you can find it. It's kind of a strange situation. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject you have in mind. We've been talking about genetically modified foods and the impact that they have. And I said, the reason we handled that first, because we're going to talk a little bit about food intolerances. And that's another area that we could talk about all day long, because there are multiple mechanisms that are involved in people's reactions to foods. It can be an allergy reaction, it can be a toxic reaction, it could be a sensitivity. Actually, those are three different things. And what we look at, everything from the inability to digest foods, your immune reactions, IgE, IgM, IgG reactions, IgA reactions, all of those things are your body's immune system kicking in because something is sensitive to your body. And in many of those things, there's enzyme deficiencies, and when they can manifest. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. A lot of people are sensitive to dairy products, and then we look. There may be a lactase deficiency, and so subsequently, anytime you get anything that has dairy in it, that has been made from, extracted from, you react. So any additives can be very problematic. So you have to look at how things are processed and what's going on in the manufacturing of these things. Do they have dyes? Do they have GMO modifications? And more and more people today are becoming sensitive. It's interesting. I travel quite a bit, and I can go to Europe, and I can go into my father's homeland and in Italy. And if I get into the hills and the side areas, these small towns, and I eat there, I can eat things there that here kind of cause me to be totally upset. So what I'm trying to say to you is that because of our exposures, because of biochemistries, because of additives, because of the preservatives, because of how we modify and adulterate things, there's a problem. Dietary lectins, these are substances that are found in foods, may be resistant to breaking down, and they can cause irritations. That's where a lot of your blood typing diets come from. They're lectin patterns. And they can cause inflammatory reactions in the body. They can trigger allergy reactions and so forth. We're going to come right back to that, but I want to take some more calls. I have several of you up there. Diane from Bethesda, how can I help you?
Yes, I went to my gastroenterologist, and I have colitis. Is another word before the colitis beginning with an S, and I can't think of it.
Well, you can have mucus colitis, you can have ulcerative colitis, you can have all kinds of things. So
anyway, I'm 84 years old. And I did have a colonoscopy 10 years ago, which showed no polyps. And he said that's still okay, that I shouldn't bother having a colonoscopy because I showed no polyps 10 years ago.
Well, Diane, you're of the age that I don't like colonoscopies anyway. But that's because, and particularly with an ulceration, if you have any kind of colitis condition, your intestinal system is sensitive. And the processes of doing a colonoscopy can irritate the tissue where it can hemorrhage, it can cause further breakdown and deterioration. What I would do first is I would get to somebody like our nutrition department, and I would begin to try to heal that and try to get things to slow down and see what the status is. If you can eliminate the allergens and the toxins and so forth within that system, then that colitis can be extremely manageable, and there's no reason for that. If your health is decent in every other way, and this is the problem with your intestinal tract, there's so much more that can be done. So we'd be more than happy, but I agree with your doctor in this situation. At your age, but particularly with the fact that you have the colitis situation, I definitely would not do a colonoscopy again, not right now anyway. Diane, thank you for
mentioned to me a virtual colonoscopy if I was interested in that.
Yeah, you can do that, but that's a tremendous amount of radiation. And if you have any potential for cancer, tumor formation, that, in my opinion, can trigger it. It's a huge amount of radiation. Diane, thanks for your call. I appreciate it. Wish we could get into it a little bit, but I agree. Don't do it. Try to get the colitis under control. Give us a call. We deal with it every day. More than happy to try to help you. We're coming up to a break. We have to pay attention to our vendors. Don't go away. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for the best in natural health, wellness, and green living products, shop the Roselle Web Store on Amazon.com. You'll find a variety of products and resources that are designed to help achieve an ultimate state of health and wellness. Shop the Roselle Web Store on Amazon.com today. Visit drtomroselle.com and click on Roselle Web Store. That's drtomroselle.com and click on Roselle Web Store.
Educate, engage, empower. Take control of your health with Dr. Tom Roselle and the Roselle Center for Healing. Information is power. Achieve an ultimate state of wellness with Dr. Tom Roselle's Education Lecture Series video on demand. Discover how to create an extraordinary life of optimal health and wellness. Visit drtomroselle.com/education. That's drtomroselle.com/education.
Dr. Tom Roselle and the Roselle Center for Healing present Ageless Health 2013, 3 Keys to Wellness, Saturday, October 19th at the Fairview Park Marriott in Falls Church, Virginia. At this all-day seminar, learn how you can feel better or feel great when the doctors from the Roselle Center for Healing each discuss a topic that directly affects your health, like your food, physical fitness, preventing injury and disease, your healing process, and more. Register today at agelesshealth2013.com. That's agelesshealth2013.com.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You've been listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio, 888-630-9625. We're here every Sunday at 12 o'clock, bringing you the latest and the most intimate information on natural health care and wellness, trying to get your health wellness index up as high as we possibly can get it. That's why we do what we do. That's why I'm dedicated to you to serve you in every way that we possibly can. Let's go to the phones, and unfortunately we're not going to get to everybody, but you guys got to call earlier. Karen, thank you for calling. How can I help you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm just calling to share with you. I heard the man call about the blisters in his mouth.
Yep.
And I wanted to let you know that I had that happen a lot. Went to the dentist. He couldn't figure it out. And it turned out that it's a gluten wheat allergy that I have.
Can very much be.
I have 2 kids who are full-blown celiacs, and I just didn't think I had a problem with it. But whenever I eat anything with wheat or gluten, I get the blisters.
Either end of the food tube, Karen. It can be affected. Gluten is so highly involved in everything, even to the point now if anybody drinks wine, so many of the wines have been put through a gluten stabilization process, and that's unfortunate, for many people who like to drink an organic wine. But yeah, there's a problem with that, and you have to look to see what gluten's been put into, how if it's been cross-contaminated with anything. But the problem in this country is that gluten is a genetically modified substance in most situations, unless it's an organic food source, and the level of gluten is so high that if you have any tendency whatsoever, you become exposed and it takes it off the top. But it's absolutely true. The caller was talking about pinpoint irritations, and that is very much consistent with parasitic exposures. That's one of the things I was trying to tell him. But in fact, gluten, you're totally right. You're absolutely right on. Gluten will cause ulcerations in the mouth, ulcerations in the intestinal tract, irritable bowel, celiac disease, and there's other pieces as well. But Karen, thanks for the input. I really appreciate it. 888-630-9625. I am so sorry. Wish we could have gotten to more of you, but as it is, the program is kind of limited. And see, what your job is, you need to call the radio station and tell them that Dr. Tom Roselle Live needs to be part of their programming, and that way we can extend it for a long time and answer all of your questions. But meantime, DrTomRoselle, that's DrTomRoselle.com. That's how you get to me, and that's how I respond to you if you want me to do it very, very quickly. I am here to answer your questions always. We do this program because I want you to be aware. I want you to get it. I want you to understand what you can do. We do our Ageless Health program in October because of that same reason, to give to you as much as we possibly can, to open your eyes, so to speak, to give you the tools so you can help yourself, to allow you to turn your life and that of your families around immediately. Because where you are right now, if you don't like it, is unnecessary. You can make a change. You can do whatever is necessary to change it. If you do the same old, guess what you're going to get? The same old stuff. So you got to do something different. Take what we're giving you and run with it. Make a difference in your life. Support your family. Support yourself. Live long, as they say, and prosper, right? And listen to me every Sunday at 12 noon, right here, right on the dial that you're listening to now. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. I'll see you next week and every Sunday. Bye now.
Are you dental phobic? Do you neglect your dental health because of fear and anxiety? A beautiful smile begins with exceptional dental care, and you can trust in the expertise of Soft Touch Dental Care and Dr. Michael Chung. Soft Touch Dental Care is unlike any dentist office you'll ever experience. Their warm and welcoming environment is designed to soothe fears and anxiety the moment you arrive, and they're especially pleased to pamper their honored guest patients. Dr. Michael Chung is a professional and leading expert in all areas of comprehensive dentistry, including cosmetic, sedation, neuromuscular, TMJ, and implant dentistry. Offering state-of-the-art technology, Dr. Chung can give you the smile of your dreams. Arrange for a complimentary consultation today with Dr. Michael Chung and experience the expertise that makes Dr. Michael Chung so unique. Call 703-319-6990. That's 703-319-6990. Or visit bestinsmile.com. That's bestinsmile.com.